When you're thinking, you're actually listening. The hidden truth about your mind. Many assume that thinking is an act of personal agency, that each thought is crafted through deliberate effort, sculpted and refined by conscious intention. But what if this perspective is fundamentally flawed? What if thinking is not an act of creation, but rather a passive process of reception? What if the mind is not the originator of thought, but merely an instrument tuned to perceive an ongoing stream of mental activity? Much like a radio antenna picks up signals from the ether, your consciousness may be receiving thoughts rather than producing them. These ideas arise spontaneously, surfacing from the depths of the subconscious, floating into awareness like whispers carried by the wind. This realization changes everything. If you are the listener, not the thinker, then who are you really? You are not the noise inside your head, you are the silent awareness behind it. You are the space in which thoughts arise and dissolve. Once you understand this, a fundamental shift occurs. You stop taking every thought so seriously. Stop identifying with every worry, fear, or desire. Instead, you begin to observe them, watching them come and go like clouds drifting across the sky. But here's the problem. Society never teaches you this. Instead, you are conditioned to believe that every thought that crosses your mind is you. That your worries, anxieties, and ambitions define your identity. This is why so many people feel trapped, mistaking the voice in their head for their true self. But if you stop for a moment and listen, not to the thoughts themselves, but to the silence between them, you will discover something extraordinary. That silence, that stillness, is you, and the more you rest in that space, the clearer it becomes. You were never your thoughts to begin with. At the path to self-realization, we explore these deep truths about the nature of the mind, consciousness, and self-awareness. Our mission is to help you break free from mental conditioning and uncover the limitless potential of pure awareness. Through philosophy, meditation, and introspective inquiry, we guide you toward understanding that your thoughts do not define you, your awareness does. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and unlock the profound peace that has always been within you. The illusion of control. Do you really think your thoughts? We are conditioned to believe that our thoughts belong to us, that they are carefully sculpted by our minds, a reflection of our deepest selves. But if you pause and observe, a striking realization emerges. Thoughts arise spontaneously, unbidden, like ripples on the surface of a vast ocean. They do not ask for permission, they come and go as they please, weaving intricate patterns in the background of our awareness. This challenges the fundamental belief that we are the architects of our own mental landscape. If we were truly in command, we would be able to summon specific thoughts at will. Yet, if you attempt to predict the next thought that will surface, you will find it an impossible task. No matter how much effort you exert, the mind moves according to its own rhythm, unshaped by conscious intent. This is a profound truth. Thinking is not something we do, it is something that happens to us. Consider the mysterious realm of dreams. Each night, our minds craft entire worlds, complete with characters, emotions, and events, without our input or control. We do not consciously decide to dream of a childhood memory, a lost friend, or a surreal landscape. These visions appear of their own accord. And yet, when we wake, we convince ourselves that our waking thoughts are somehow different, that they are ours to command. But the same mechanism is at play in both states. Thoughts materialize spontaneously, whether we are awake or asleep. This realization prompts deeper contemplation. If we are not the creators of our thoughts, then what force is shaping them? Are they echoes of our subconscious, fragments of past experiences resurfacing, or something even more enigmatic? And most importantly, if we are not the source of every thought, should we unquestioningly accept them as truth? Perhaps the real power lies not in controlling thoughts, but in how we choose to engage with them, recognizing that thoughts are fleeting occurrences, rather than intrinsic aspects of our identity, liberates us from their grip. We are not bound by every passing worry, fear, or memory. We are the awareness that observes them, the stillness beneath the noise. When we cease to cling to every thought as though it defines us, we step into a space of profound freedom, where the mind's endless chatter loses its hold, and clarity begins to emerge. If you were truly the creator of your thoughts, you would wield complete authority over what appears in your mind. But try this simple experiment. Attempt to predict the exact next thought that will emerge. It's impossible, no matter how much you try. The moment of its arrival is entirely beyond your control. This unsettling truth reveals something profound. Thinking is not a function of deliberate action but rather an autonomous process, unfolding without conscious intent. Now, consider the enigmatic world of dreams. Every night, your mind constructs entire realities, vivid landscapes, intricate storylines, intense emotions, without any effort from you. You don't sit down and script your dreams, they simply happen. And yet, upon waking, we convince ourselves that our waking thoughts are somehow different, that they stem from an internal, self-directed source. But the same law governs both states. Thoughts emerge spontaneously, arising from unseen depths, whether you are asleep or awake. This understanding leads to a far more profound question. If thoughts are not actively created, what is their true origin? Do they emerge from the subconscious, shaped by past experiences and latent impressions? Are they echoes of societal conditioning, projections of stored fears and desires? Or could it be that the mind is merely a vessel, passively receiving signals from a greater field of consciousness beyond individual perception? And the most important question of all, if you are not the originator of your thoughts, do you have to take them all at face value? Do you have to believe and act upon every mental impulse? Or can you simply observe them, like clouds drifting across an infinite sky? The answer to this is the key to mental freedom. By detaching from the need to control, grasp, or engage with every thought, you step into the liberating awareness that you are not your thoughts, you are the witness to them. The battle within, contradictory thoughts and inner conflict. One moment, you find yourself brimming with excitement at the thought of a new opportunity. The next, an unsettling wave of doubt washes over you. Why does this happen? If you were truly the master of your own thoughts, wouldn't you be able to maintain unwavering certainty and confidence? Yet, the reality is far more complex. Thoughts do not arise from a single, unified self but rather from an intricate interplay of unconscious influences, memories, past traumas, social conditioning, and even fleeting sensory impressions. This explains why inspiration often strikes when you least expect it, when your mind is not burdened by effort, when you are relaxed, and when you are not consciously trying to think. Creativity flows not through force, but through openness. The more you attempt to control your thoughts, the more resistant they become, slipping through your grasp like water held too tightly in your palms. So what happens when you shift your perspective? When you stop identifying with every passing thought, an extraordinary transformation occurs. You begin to recognize thoughts as temporary visitors, some insightful, some irrelevant, and some deceptive. No longer compelled to react impulsively, you gain the ability to witness them without being consumed by them. Rather than seeing yourself as the sum of your thoughts, you start to perceive yourself as the awareness in which thoughts appear and disappear. And in that realization, a profound inner stillness emerges, one that no fleeting mental chatter can disturb. The tyranny of overthinking. How society keeps you trapped. From childhood, society conditions you to believe that your thoughts define who you are. You are taught to assign meaning to every passing mental impulse, to build an identity around fleeting thoughts. I am a doubtful person. I am an anxious person. I am a confident person. But if you take a step back and examine this belief, you will see it for what it truly is, an illusion. Thoughts do not hold the authority we give them. They are momentary flashes of consciousness, not permanent markers of who you are. This deep-rooted conditioning leads to unnecessary suffering. A person who sees their anxious thoughts as a defining trait will naturally struggle with anxiety more than someone who simply recognizes these thoughts as transient, non-personal events. Instead of letting them pass like clouds drifting across the sky, most people cling to their thoughts, analyzing and judging them, giving them weight they do not inherently possess. This very act makes them feel more real and more powerful than they actually are. The truth is, thoughts only hold power over you if you choose to believe them. A self-doubting thought arises, I'm not good enough, and instead of observing it as a passing moment of the mind, you engage with it, either trying to argue against it or allowing it to take root in your psyche. But the more you resist a thought, the more it strengthens its grip. The mind, much like quicksand, pulls you deeper the more you struggle against it. This is why the notion of thinking positively often fails. Forcing yourself to replace negative thoughts with positive ones is just another form of resistance. Reinforcing the idea that certain thoughts must be suppressed. But true mental freedom does not come from controlling or fighting your thoughts. It comes from understanding that thoughts, by nature, are impermanent. The real shift happens when you step back, detach, and realize thoughts are just thoughts. They pass like waves in the ocean. They do not define me, and they never have. The power of awareness. Seeing thoughts for what they are. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow past. Some parts of the river are calm, others are turbulent, yet, regardless of how the current moves, you remain on the riverbank, simply observing. This is the essence of awareness, the ability to witness without becoming entangled. Thoughts function in much the same way. They ebb and flow, appearing and dissolving without your control. Some arrive gently, like the lapping of small waves, while others crash into your mind like a storm. But in the same way that the river does not ask for permission to flow, your thoughts do not require your consent to appear. The crucial difference between suffering and peace is not the presence or absence of certain thoughts but your relationship with them. Many people struggle with anxiety, stress, and emotional turmoil because they over-identify with the thoughts that arise within them. A passing worry is mistaken for a prophecy. A fearful thought is interpreted as an undeniable truth, and a moment of doubt is seen as a defining characteristic of who they are. But thoughts, by their very nature, are fleeting. They do not possess an inherent truth, only the meaning we assign to them. When you cultivate awareness, you develop the ability to witness your thoughts without attaching to them. Instead of being swept away by the river's current, you become the observer on the shore. You recognize that thoughts are merely mental occurrences, like ripples on the surface of awareness, and that they do not define you. True inner freedom comes not from suppressing thoughts, nor from attempting to replace negative ones with positive affirmations, but from seeing them for what they truly are, transient, ever-changing, and ultimately separate from the deeper awareness that is your true self. Liberation. The ultimate realization. Most people spend their lives caught in an endless loop of thinking, believing that each thought must be dissected, judged, or acted upon. They assume that control over their thoughts equates to control over their lives. But what if this belief itself is an illusion? What if thoughts are not something to be controlled at all, but rather phenomena to be observed, like the rustling of leaves in the wind or the drifting of clouds in the sky? The moment you stop resisting your thoughts and instead allow them to rise and fall naturally, you step into a level of freedom that few ever experience. Just as the vast sky remains unchanged no matter how many storms pass through it, your true nature remains untouched by the transient waves of thought that arise in your mind. The mind may generate narratives, worries, and self-doubts, but none of them define you unless you choose to believe in them. This realization alters everything. You no longer need to chase after positive thoughts or suppress the negative ones. Instead, you shift your focus to something far more profound, the awareness beneath the thinking mind. And in that awareness, you uncover something that has always been present but often overlooked, a deep, unwavering peace that exists beyond the noise of mental chatter. The key to this transformation is simple. You are not your thoughts. You are the silent witness to them. When you grasp this truth not just intellectually but experientially, you will no longer be held captive by your own mind. Instead, you will move through life with a newfound sense of clarity, unburdened by the illusion that every passing thought requires your attention or validation. The final step toward freedom. After diving deep into the nature of thought and awareness, the next step is yours. What will you do with this understanding? Will you continue to identify with every passing thought, letting it dictate your emotions and actions? Or will you step back, take a breath, and recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are the space in which they appear and disappear? This journey is not about eliminating thinking but about seeing it clearly. The more you practice awareness, the more you realize that thoughts are simply mental events, not absolute truths. With this realization, a weight lifts, and life becomes lighter, freer, more expansive. You are no longer trapped by the narratives of your mind. Instead, you gain the power to witness them, choosing which to engage with and which to let go. True peace comes not from trying to control your thoughts, but from realizing that you don't have to be controlled by them. Your mind is a powerful tool, but it is not your master. The moment you see this clearly is the moment you reclaim your inner freedom. If this message resonates with you, don't let it stop here. Growth happens when we take action. Join us on the path to self-realization and explore these profound truths even further. Subscribe to our channel, engage with our content, and become part of a community dedicated to deep thinking, self-awareness, and inner transformation. Let's break free from the illusions that hold us back. Let's explore consciousness together. If you found value in this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next insight into the mind and self. Your journey doesn't end here, it's just beginning. See you in the next video.